Man, you come straight out of a comic.
First of all, this bitch work at McDonald's. Can we start there?
Product placement like a motherfucker.
Bruh. I said the last episode, she was really about that life. She should have went to Wendy's. If she wanted some real food, she should have went to Wendy's.
Dead ass. And was Chick-fil-A a thing back then?
That's a good question. When did Chick-fil-A start?
Probably wasn't in Broxton, Oklahoma either, right? That's
probably exactly where it was before it came over here.
Chick-fil-A started in Atlanta or Georgia, somewhere in Georgia. I do know that.
Oh, that makes sense since they don't like gay people.
Have you ever seen the movie Founder?
No.
With Michael Keaton?
Yeah, that is a sad ass inspiring movie. I was like, McDonald's is. I can't even say McDonald's.
The Founder. Yes, yeah. Michael Keaton was
That is inspiring.
Ray Kroc is the epitome of Christopher Columbus of the fast food industry.
Shit.
Yes.
That's literally what he is.
I didn't know how to feel. I was like, should I be inspired about
because the thing is, he's wrong, but he's not wrong. Right. He's wrong, but he did what needed to be done. He saw a vision that the other McDonald's motherfuckers they didn't see it. That's not his fault. And here's the thing: on numerous of occasions, he tried to work with him.
And that's the thing I think kind of makes you like, do I cheer for this dude or do I kind of call this dude an L? But at the same time, it's like, yo, he tried to tell y'all. He tried to tell y'all. Y'all could have ended up like Blockbuster too. This could have been one of them issues.
Clint, I think you should make My Edibles Kicking into a video game, bro. You be like,
hell yeah.
Trust me, it should be a video game, man. Trust me. You be like, nah, I think it's good right here. You be like, nigga, trust me. Yeah. I got this. Let me get the IP. You be like, and I just take off, and this motherfuckers become like Angry Birds. You be like, I'm gonna buy you out from your.
Yeah, that's what he did, and then never paid the niggas.
He did. He paid them. Paid them out
in court. Yeah, after the settlement and stuff.
Oh, I'm about to say they said that he still didn't receive. Well, he didn't receive. No, he was supposed to also pay him like 3% in perpetuity or whatever like that.
Never did.
And never paid.
Oh yeah,
no handshake.
Nah. But he probably do that.
Let's do it.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Straight of Comic Book. I'm your host, Will Pharaoh. And of course, I got the fellows with me, Clint, Coley, and Dion Lack. And of course, we are talking about Marvel's Loki Season 2. As I said, we're trying to do an episode by episode breakdown. Keyword trying. So that's why I said you'll see different people pop in and out in these episodes, man, because this is the first time we've done this. And but if we figured to do it with anything first, it was going to be with Loki. And I just want to jump immediately into it. We're talking about episode 2, which is called Breaking Brad. Crazy. Yep. And that is exactly what this entire episode was, man. We got to see an interrogation like no other. We got to see the return of Loki's villainous side. And it was just incredible in my opinion. But I want to know, of course, because we all think a little differently. I want to know on a scale of 1 to 10, how are y'all feeling about the second episode? I'm gonna start with Clint. On a scale of 1 to 10, where are you putting the second episode?
Scale of 1 to 10, I'm giving the second episode around somewhere between an 8 and a 9. Give me like an 8.7, right? Because of course, episodes when you rate an episode of 10, it's like they packed it out. We know it's get ready. Like they gave us something big in episode 2. I'm not going to say they gave us anything small, but they kind of gave us I'm going to say like they gave us side with no meat. Pause. You see what I'm saying? Like they gave us very good mashed potatoes. They gave us very good macaroni and cheese. They even gave us some good vegetable. Like they gave us some nice green beans, string beans, whatever you want. Yeah, but I just think it was missing. There was no turkey. There was no shit. Yeah, and here's the thing. I don't expect every episode to have that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not expecting every episode to deliver that. I do understand that this is a show, and outside of other Marvel shows, this is leading up to something major. You know what I'm saying? No pun intended, of course, but yes, I think in the next episode we are going to get something major. You know what I'm saying? But let's dive into what I saw in episode 2. a couple of things happened. Like you said, Will Pharaoh, Loki dived back into his sinister style.
Well, hold on before we jump into it. Hold on, because I definitely want to make sure we got you there. But I do want to get Dion's 1 out of 10 rating as well before we start diving in. I don't know, all good. Dion, what about yourself?
You know what? Last episode, I cleared things up. Clint was gone. If the reason why I did not like the pilot, I mean the episode 1 of season 2, is because I was trying to connect it with all of them. If phase 4, we had this discussion, Will. If phase 4 and 5 of all the things in between season Loki was different universes, as in this is a different Earth, this would have been so much more sweeter. Because my mind, I'm trying my best, because what happened in Loki season 1 was groundbreaking, but nothing connected to what happened in phase 4 and 5. So when I stood back and was like, what if things that happened in Moon Knight and all these other like major movies was in different universes, I would have felt like, okay, now I'm fine with how this is going. So again, Loki season 1 and season 2 is perfect together. I need to remove the whole Marvel universe and just enjoy these 2 series back to back. So I like it. That's what I'm saying.
So where do you give episode 2?
Episode 2, I mean, it was a solid 8 for me.
Okay.
I don't feel like I feel like, you know, I'm always like, what am I learning? We already knew that everyone's a variant. I didn't feel like I learned anything, but it was entertaining. They put a lot of money in the goddamn effects, so I was like, okay. So I mean,
I like, that's why I like having Dion here, because we get to teach this motherfucker what he didn't see and get to let him learn and stuff. But no, I feel the same way. I think Clint put it best. It was a great vegan plate that they served us. Like, you know, like you go to a vegan restaurant, it's like, oh, hey, these sides was fire, but you know, we didn't have no meat there for it. You know, pause. You know, we didn't have no pork chops, we didn't have anything like that. But I still got I was still satisfied when I left. I'll say that I was very satisfied when I left. And then one thing I would too, because I want to get into the first part of the episode and really get y'all opinion and stuff. You know, we'll break it down for 3 acts. I will say it like this too, that may even help with that a little bit more, Dion, when it comes to thinking of this. Keep in mind, the Loki you're dealing with is from the original Avengers.
Yeah.
There would be no reason to tie phase 4 into everything with this show, seeing as how this variant has not witnessed anything since phase 1. Right. So now it's him being catapulted into all of these new phases, but not to the point of just being catapulted. You're seeing the whole layout of the game. It's like, I'm seeing the back end of what this whole
different years, though. They're still bouncing around in different years. So if instead of having Nebraska, what if he just landed in New York when Doctor Strange and goddamn Spider-Man was fighting back there and just popped right back out? Just like show us a glimpse of,
but you're still thinking of time being like this. That's why.
And it's not.
And it's not.
When you see time the way
because it's different timelines. That's why I'm thinking of it. Yeah.
Well, it's not even just different timelines, right? Like time is not linear, right? In the MCU now, time is a circle. You know what I'm saying? So it's a loop. Everything that's supposed, like, so here's the thing, right? So Loki's destined to do what happened in Thor Ragnarok, which leads into Infinity War. That is his destiny. What happened was he stepped off of that path. So he can't go back onto that timeline ever again at this point. Okay. On that timeline, on the original timeline, Loki is dead.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? But now what's happening is they're introducing the multiverse, right? And then I'm pretty sure Thor is going to find out Loki is still alive, or a variant of Loki is alive, and whatever ramifications come with that. We don't know what Marvel has planned, but we're just going to accept it for this. What I'm going to give you about episode 2 is the first thing, like Will said, we're going to dive into the first part of it, right? The first thing I learned off the rip was they're coming out. They're in London, 1977, right? And I see why Brad is so essential to the story. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because Brad or X5 or
yeah,
whatever,
I was
right?
X5, right?
Yeah.
Because his job was to find Sylvie, right? And on top of that, he knew what his, we're going to just call her his mother. He knew what she was up to. He also knows something else that I believe he's just not telling us. I believe opening with that was incredible, in my opinion. He is very, like, they're making him extremely, extremely essential to the story.
Yeah. I really like how they did take a chance to step out of just Loki, out of Morbius, and be able to really show us the eyes of what a variant is now witnessing. Because, you know, like even in like you said, like in the first season, what it was, I think it was C-23, we only got to see her break from seeing, like, you know, like a glimpse of what her life was. And then, you know, unfortunately, Renslayer around, you know, unlifing her. But now, you know, we got to finally see the eyes of like a variant from the TVA, understanding that, like, yo, I was pulled from my life. And that I get to see, like, yo, what my life really was, what it could have been, where I'm supposed to be. And as they said too, it's very funny of him going to the sacred timeline and being there. And it did give a lot of questions, because it's like, and again, it goes back to the time not being linear, because it posed the question even in there when Brad went back to the 70s for this film. Did he kill the original person that was in there? Or is that where he's supposed to be? And then that also asks the question is, if that is the case, why are you pulling variants from sacred timelines in places they're supposed to be? So that also raises that question now.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to know what you think about the first opening part of it, Dion.
I kind of feel like they cheated from how it ended to the second episode. I was like, they just went right to the movie premiere and like and Morbius and Morbius, was it Morbius?
Mobius, yeah, Mobius and Loki.
Had an R in there, and Loki just walked through. I was like, can we get some sort of preparation? Like it went from how did the last one end? Oh yeah, it went from him diving out of the little
temporal loop.
No, technically it didn't end. No. It ended with Broxton, Oklahoma, where Sylvie walks into the with the temp pad, and she now in 1982 McDonald's, right? Now the whole quest of episode 2 is, where is Sylvie? That is so I wouldn't say they cheated, but I understand what you're saying.
Right. I was like how did they know to go right to him? It was like it wasn't it wasn't like let's go to the pad. It's like we're looking for somebody who knows him. I was like, how they find him?
I'll tell you why. Don't forget, he didn't come back to the TVA. Clearly, he went on his timeline to live his life. Now we know time works differently in the TVA as far as how it pertains to the sacred timeline. But he did not return to the TVA. And niggas is like, yo, well, where the fuck is he at? Where's his? And then they found where his temp pad was. And then, you know, it kept rolling. But at the end of the day, they didn't know where he was at. Don't forget, it was not that he didn't know. He didn't come back. It was like he went on a mission and said, nah, fuck this mission. I'm going to live out on this timeline.
Yeah, and we did see like the site preparation of, hey, we saw General Docs, the one, you know, Clint referred to as X5's mother, or whatever that weird relationship was. We saw all of them going, so that kind of gave us the preparation of, okay, this is now becoming priority of where we need to go and follow. So even like, you know, like to Dion's point, I get it of us not seeing the initial setup, but even to like kind of even piecing things together, like for instance. I always forget her name, and I'm so sorry. But the British black lady that's in the episode, Hunter B-15. B-15 could have been tracking him and then called for Loki and Mobius to come through and stuff as she's trying to figure out where all these people are going, because that would have been her main priority as you saw her walk off from the temporal loom when she said, yo, I'll handle this. So that's probably how they got that information and let them come to London in that time.
Right.
That little hey, can I have your autograph? And took his pad, and she's like, I'll let you keep running off. And we never saw her again.
Yeah, which is wild too, because she. No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, but he don't care about the 10-pack. He don't want to go back to the TVA.
Right.
He cares about living a life on the timeline.
Yeah, and I think he was more concerned about, like, as we get further into the story, of what General Dox's overall plan was. And so too, I think that's why he was keeping that. But also what kind of made me throw a question is, I don't think any of the TVA agents know where the sacred timeline really is, because you saw even Brad was a little bit scared on the sacred timeline when he saw them. And so it's kind of like, why are you still shaking? Like how y'all said, why do you need this 10-pad if you just want to be here? Which lets me know something wasn't supposed to happen there with just him walking off. He may be in danger, and that sacred timeline may be in more danger than what was being alluded to Clint's point. Because who's to say General Dox, as crazy as she went, as we get later into the story, who's to say she wasn't planning on blowing up the sacred timeline?
Right. And let's also talk about that
everything.
Too. I saw Dion. You said that they cheated and blah blah blah. There's another thing that was really pointed out in the last scene and the first scene. In the last scene, when you saw Sylvie, it said Broxton, 1982, Broxton, Oklahoma. It said branched timeline. The very first drawing, when you saw 1977 London, it said sacred timeline. They are now letting you know, or they are now like not dividing, right? But like they are now labeling what's happening on the sacred top, because that's going to be a big thing because like clearly they're going to go find Victor Timely, right? That's going to be a thing. Like, watch out for when they do the and they land in 1892 or whatever year that is, Chicago. Please look at if that's the sacred timeline or if that's a branch timeline. If that's the sacred timeline, that has major implications on the MCU, right? Versus it being on a branch timeline, okay, well, we don't know. You know what I'm saying? But if it's on the sacred timeline, that has a major implications on them saying, oh, no. This happened, like this is already a thing. Things that you probably see throughout, the Avengers and Captain America and all that stuff like that. Some of it does derive from Victor Timely.
So let me ask you this though, because remember Loki was like, when he first came, he was like, this is not Sylvia's thing, man. She likes chaos. She likes to be in areas where it's going, like things are going to end. So her going to that branch timeline, is this like a suicide mission if she knew it's going to end? Because
no, I don't think it was. I think like to seeing everything like as she explained in season 1, and I don't think I think that's a real great thing about this show is like the more you watch it and rewatch it, you start to kind of grasp like what's really going on with these characters outside of just the normal stuff we've seen in Marvel. Like, for instance, Sylvie has been like, let's say, first of all, we know Asgardians age differently. So let's just say, okay, we know what Thor's older, right? Thor said he's 1,500 years old.
He's about somewhere around 1,500.
Yeah, around 14, 15.
Loki's about 1,000.
So let's say Loki's 1,000. She's 1,000 years old. That's 1,000 years of going through apocalypse after apocalypse after apocalypse.
Yeah.
After all of that, and then to find out like, hey, this person that's been pulling my strings, not only did I cut the strings, I killed them. That's why this makes so much sense to go to Oklahoma, to go to work at McDonald's. The simplicity of doing something so basic as to just flipping a burger or checking out at a register is far more peaceful to her than having to worry about an entire world destroyed and then having to go find another one just to hide.
And then don't forget, she has Kang's 10-pad just in case.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
She has, and not only just, she doesn't have a regular 10-pad. She has He Who Remains his 10-pad, which means she can literally go anywhere, any place, anytime. And not only that, but she'll know the flow of time and what's going to happen.
Does she have a home? Is she homeless? Like, did she get an apartment? Like,
well, her timeline was pruned.
No. He's saying working at like Oklahoma. Like, now that's the question I was having.
Oh yeah, she probably as far as money. Let's be real. She has a 10-pad. She can go anywhere I can go grab some money. I can go live it. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I didn't dive too much into that. You know what I'm saying?
But I'm saying though too, like if you ain't trying to cause no suspicion, like
Right.
where were you
Where
bumming
you
it on the
going?
bench until you got your first check
Right.
to get an apartment? Like what
Yeah,
happened?
you got credit? Did you you know?
Do
did
you have credit? It's hilarious. But it's not
Yeah.
again 1982, man. So like credit, you know, deposits was different back then. Don't forget rent. Rent in an LA apartment back in 1982 was like $400 or $500 a month, if that. And that was, you know, sometimes if you were living luxury, it was probably $1,000, right? In Broxton, Oklahoma, how much
$37.
Easily. Easily.
13.
But
yeah, no, New York, it was $335 from the 70s and 80s.
Wow.
So Broxton, Oklahoma, for sure, she's paying less than $100 for rent.
But they give her a check, she going to the bank. They be like, we don't have what is your information? Like, where's your
where's your social security?
And when she learned currency like that too, like because at first she was like, I don't want no dead possums, rats, or whatever else she got. Like, how you know our currency?
Don't forget, she can enchant people.
That's true, but that's what let me know though. Now that was the cheating part, because don't every chick just start on the front register. That's how I know for working in the bank. Don't everybody just get put at the register immediately like that. I was like, yo, you at least frying fries first, or throwing the nuggets in.
She's also a white woman in Oklahoma. They got to.
Hey, you know what? That's what this whole episode taught me was white women ruin everything. That's what I've learned. White women are always the catalyst to fucking some shit up. Okay, World War I, white woman got her own husband shot because she was out here diddling with another dude. Rosewood, Emmett Till. We kind of saw both of those in season 1, if you think about it, with He Who Remains. Except she actually did the killing instead of getting one of her white people to do it. And then, of course, we have General Dox, who is just the whitest.
Fuck shit up.
That lady killed more people than Hitler. Do y'all know? Like, yo, they did the math.
with no remorse. They did the math. About 2.7 billion people.
Yeah.
No. They did it. Shout out to New Rock.
Trillion.
Yeah. 3 trillion people were killed. Nuts. We were calling it pruned. They were killed. But we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to we get into the best part of the side plate a little too fast. Let's rewind back into the interview.
What else?
Now we know Brad has been caught. Brad's brought to the TVA and everything. And one thing I really enjoyed about the second part of like how this interrogation was going to start, I love seeing how Morbius is starting to really kind of like advance. So I'm loving the growth of his character, watching him take a step back to let Loki do his thing, taking a step back to kind of understand where everything is. Like you really started to understand more about why Mobius was like pretty much the second hand of Renslayer. Like we really just being honest with it. Like we know there's so many tiers above her, but we see why everyone comes to him in this second episode, just because of how he reacted. And I ain't gonna lie, if it's just me, but now I want to try key lime pie.
I'm the actual same. I do want to try key lime pie. I totally agree.
Mobius got me. I want some key lime pie.
One thing I will say about Mobius in this episode, we saw a side of Mobius we'd never seen before. The minute he slapped the shit out of him, it was like that's what he did though. He literally open hand slapped the shit out of him. And I said, oh, Mobius knows a lot more than he's leading on. 2, Mobius does. We find out what Mobius's guilt is. It's like he knows this. He just doesn't want. He wants to be oblivious to it because his thing is like, yo, man, I don't want to find out that I was happy. Yeah, I don't want to find out that life was good for me.
So I want to know y'all opinion though. What would be your answer? So if you were a variant of the TVA, just found that out, you have a choice to go back, see your life, or just keep doing what you're doing. What are you taking?
Dion, I want to go with you first. Go ahead.
How about that?
So yeah, I agree with Mobius because in your mind is like, this is all I know. And if somebody's telling you, like, if somebody tell y'all right now, you know you originally was white. Like, you lived in the hills. They pruned you and made you black. You was like, Your father was I don't know. This is a bad example because I know you.
I would. You're right though. I'd probably stay because I'm sure it's white. My dick was small, so no, I wouldn't want to go back.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I like where I'm at. I like where I'm at right now.
Like, I don't want to go there. Mm-hmm. I don't want to change my whole entire culture. It's like it's hard
I
to
never even contemplated that. Like, yo, you were a different race, though you got paroled?
I won't even say I was a different race. Like we don't. Here's the thing about the timeline, right? You don't know where you lived on the timeline. That's the thing, right? You don't know if you come from, the future 2040, 2235 AD. You don't know if you come from 1960.
Slavery.
You don't exactly. So for me, it's like right? if like let me be a variant from slavery. I would love that because
really,
what if?
Because he wouldn't go back.
If you capture me on the timeline and I find out I'm a black man in 1762, nigga, no.
Yeah.
No.
I thought you said take me back. I was like,
where you think your life might be, Dion? What's your
I would be like, please. I will cough up the blue pill. Do not make me take this pill again. I do not want to go back to slavery. Please don't take me back.
And then now I also think about it like, what if they kidnap me as Clint Coley right now and I live on this timeline with myself? I would probably I would go back because, I don't have an awful life, right? Like I tell jokes for a living. I'm talking comic book shit with my friends. And I'm not just saying that, but I'm just like, when you think about also like, but again, if your life was fucked up, or if there was a season of your life where you was like, you might, depending on when you catch me, if you caught 24-year-old Clint who just moved out to LA and ain't had no money and wasn't living nowhere, nigga, absolutely get me off this fucking timeline.
I feel like my time. Yeah, I feel like I'd be somewhere in the desert where no technology didn't started. All the shit. I'm back in like the BC area, and I'm a camel cleaner. I'm like, no, I don't want to be here.
Get me the fuck off. So I understand Mobius's thing where it's like, yo, man, I don't want to find out that I was happy. I don't want to find out. Like, only thing I know is that I like jet skis. I'm cool with that.
And do they get paid to TVA? Is it a salary?
That was my question. Like,
that's a great. Well, where do you live?
Right. Yeah, they just be hanging out.
Yeah. They just be here working.
Dorms or something. What is it?
Yeah, where do you live?
Do they sleep? Like, I ain't seen a break room yet.
Are they fucking in? Right. Yeah, are you fucking in the TVA?
Can we have a baby in as a variant? Like,
Yo, that's wild.
Yo, but think about the rules though. I'm pretty sure you're snipped when you get, and also your memory is right. You don't know what sex feels like.
Wait. Hold on. Why is that just a thing that should be known to be in there? Wait, I'm sure.
I mean, because you can't reproduce in a TVA, my nigga. Yeah. You don't have time for that.
Yeah, pun intended.
Yeah, you don't have time for that.
But that's okay. But to y'all point then with that, I feel like that may be true, but it may not, because if you look at the scene where you look outside the TVA, let's really be honest. What is all that shit for out there? I feel like 4 buildings is what make up the TVA. What the rest is that shit out there?
Yeah,
that's a city. But it's not chronological.
So they gotta be some fucking going on in there. I still think TVA is just, every time I see it, it just makes me think.
Or maybe when you have kids, you have TVA kids.
Do they have school? Like what happens? Like,
yeah, like you learn about Minutes. Was Miss Minutes teaching them? Yo, now that I think about that though, what if you got pruned and you had kids?
Yeah, that's tough.
That is tough. So, but it makes sense though why Brad was so adamant about going back and the way the interrogation happened, because of being able to see it. But it goes back to something Clint said. What made him, from the first episode we seen with General Dox was basically licking his face, to make him say, screw this whole mission, I'm finna go do that. And they kept bringing that up in the investigation. They was like, so you just betrayed everything you wanted.
I'll tell you this though, don't forget, in the first episode, he was the one pointing out he was the one most hurt that everything was a lie. Between him and B-15, he was like, no, dog, this changes everything. His mom was like, this changes nothing. So he's probably like, yeah, I hear you, mom, but I'm still going to go do my own thing because I don't believe in any of this. He doesn't care about the TVA at all. He's through. he's through. He showed that in episode 1 and then really showed it during the interrogation in episode 2.
Yeah. How did y'all feel about the interrogation?
I thought it was too long.
I could agree with that. I could agree with that. I do agree.
I agree.
Right. I kind of feel like they could have. I mean, it was great dialogue because what he said to Loki was like, you are a villain. Don't act like you good. Don't act like what you did wasn't like you. We are the same person. That was great dialogue. Yeah. I kind of feel like it could have went right to Mobius because that's part. Right. And then they went right back in there again.
Yeah. And the part like how you said that we were missing at the beginning, they could have took some of that out and put that at the beginning of how we got led to London.
Right.
Like how you mentioned earlier.
Yeah. And the whole box thing,
that's tough.
It was kind of silly.
Yeah, but that's tough.
Because what if he actually killed him? It's like where.
Yo, especially with them saying like, I don't know how these controllers work. I was so waiting on them to accidentally hit something and just real small. real small, like And which too though, watching it, I saw at the bottom though, it's a grill down there.
Yep.
So that means someone had done that shit before. Someone that accidentally like, ooh.
Yeah.
All right, how you undo?
And I know, but that's a good punishment or good torture, man. Like not being in the box and can't move and sitting there like that is crazy.
And it's closing in.
Yeah. And it's closing. Yeah. And so of course, like
say anything, dude. He could have honestly said anything. She's in 1969, Earth 14,
getting a back blown out by Austin Powers. Now let me out.
He could have said anything.
But he gave up the right thing. So like, now that he gave up the location of Sylvie, and of course, like we already know she's in Oklahoma now working at McDonald's. And so the question I had though, when they got there, and I'm just, maybe, I want to ask y'all, why was she so pissed to see him?
I'll tell you why.
Why didn't people?
She didn't want to see him, right? But you also got to remember, just for bad reasons, somebody doesn't want to see somebody. There's also like good reasons, right? Like Sylvie love that nigga. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He's also a reminder of hurt, right? Like she don't forget they didn't end on good terms, right? Yeah, he loved her. He said all these nice things, but don't forget they didn't want the same things. She wanted to kill the nigga at the end of time. He wanted to rule with her because it's like, look, man, like. This looks like more war, more like somebody who has the ability to control destinies and doesn't control free will has the ability. Like, what the fuck? So, I mean, she thought he was lying, and she did what she did. And so her thing was, I don't want to see you. Period. That's what I think. I don't think she was more so mad at him. I think she was more so mad at everything going on.
Gotcha. Okay.
Y'all heard about this theory that said her co-worker, because they're giving him a lot of dialogue.
Yeah.
They think he's Mobius. They think he's Mobius. I heard that theory.
It's like they give him a lot of dialogue, man.
I don't think he is, but I do think it's a smaller type of egg that kind of goes with everything. I think he is just something that may lead to another thing. Like, oh, that was that guy. Oh, okay, I get it now.
But they think it could be something. Yeah.
No. What you saying?
No, I'm just saying they're saying he's a younger version of Mobius. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But I think we're gonna see him anyway. I think we're gonna see Mobius's actual life though, like because I think we did see that in the trailer. And then of course now like we seeing as Sylvie and them are exchanging words and stuff like that. We saw like Brad getting a little bit hasty as Mobius was eating the apple pie, and then come to find out because General Dox is over here just straight going the hell off and killing off 30% of the branches that had sprouted out, and as we said, 3 trillion people gone. Fight scene was great. The Thought it'd be a little more guarded. Just gonna be honest. Thought it was gonna be a little more guarded than that with everything that they was doing. I do like that she went out like as the fanatic that she was acting like though. I did like that. Like I like that it wasn't no like y'all finna make this some big thing where she's the whole season she keep doing the stuff. I like that it was like right then and there. Get to see Sylvie and Loki reunite powers wise, and then I even like at the end how Loki, you know, like kind of gave her that decision of like, hey, you can stay here if you want, go back where you at, or you can come roll with us. But you see what the fuck happened.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah. You see what's happening.
And then you saw at the end of the episode that she still had. They showed that she still had the temp pad. So she's probably going to, you know, of course she's probably going to join. Well, we know she's going to join it because we say there you are. Mm-hmm. So
yeah. Now here's my big thing.
I feel like it's kind of weak. He's been fighting to find this woman this whole entire time, and he was like, "All right, I'll let you go." It's like, man, nigga, you've been trying to find her for past 2 episodes, and all of a sudden he's like,
but he know himself though. So you know if he kept like to that point, if you keep asking me, I'm not gonna do it. But if I leave it to you, like, all right, man, we'll do you then. It's like, oh, word, and then you gonna follow because that's what Loki would do. The thing you see even in some Thor movies. That's how Thor had to egg him on to do something. It's like, telling me I can't do this. And so he just did the same thing to Sylvie, and it worked.
Gotcha.
But one thing that really caught me that gave me a theory to this, and which goes back to my theory of this becoming an incursion type deal, when they showed the scene of all of them watching that screen and all that stuff started breaking up. What I noticed at the top, and then and thank you for New Rockstars also confirming it, was you started seeing the numbers pop up of what branches were being pruned, which was basically it was a variation of 616. And so I guess that's what again now it's going. I guess they're using that based off of what Rachel McGowan's character from Doctor Strange said. But what made this very interesting, and just let me know if I'm tripping. What I think is happening. And I gotta start doing like Neil Tyson, whatever the fuck his name is. I think that if you take, like you said, like Clint, you take a circle. This is the sacred timeline, right? So let's say this timeline is the one that holds Earth 616. And now all of this stuff is starting to branch off, right? Remember what Kang said, and he showed it, that there were universes on top of universes. What if this sacred timeline is branching along with another sacred timeline that's also branching, and they're branching into each other? So I don't think this one sacred timeline and those branches are the only thing we're dealing with. I think that is just one universe with the infinite possibilities of what could happen. And I think that what we're going to start learning is, even though Doc's pruned those, you still have these other several versions of universes that are also branching, that are now collapsing on one another. That's what I call
just because even when they pruned or when they were done, you saw still little lines left. You know what I'm saying? And stuff like that. So because they didn't catch everything because, you know, Sylvie and Loki did stop something. So I totally agree. I think the biggest thing for me from this episode though was they got a hit on Renslayer, and they need whoever founded the TVA, their tempora energy is the only thing that can get you inside to that temporal loom. So now they know we gotta find Victor fucking Timely, or we gotta find Kang the Conqueror. Where is he at?
And that's something else I also want to throw in too. One, I think Obi has something very major to do with this. I think he was the one who invented what can make the sacred timeline, and then got with them. But there's something between him and Miss Minutes that's very crucial. I think there was something that happened between the two of them before the Kangs got involved. And I don't know what it is, but I am seeing something. The more and more I watch this, I'm just like, Obi knows a little too much. And then Obi wrote the book.
So I think his memory was erased up to a certain point.
Yeah.
There's a piece that he doesn't remember.
And I also think too, just throw this out there. Oh, my bad. Just throw this out there. What if Obi is a Kang variant?
Oh,
That's crazy, right?
hold up. What if Red Slayer is a King variant?
Well, we know that's
What if
his
Miss
mother.
Minutes is a Kang variant?
Damn, you're right.
All of them trying to keep this shit together.
I
And it
can
was a
see-
whole war. And it was a war to erase all their memories.
Yep. Wow. Go ahead, Clint.
I just think that this next episode is going to really, because like here's the thing, right? Episodes, don't forget, or shows go in two parts in a sense, right? Like, and I'm only going back to Power because usually I know what's happening in episode 1 is a total different story by episode 5. There's a total different problem.
Yeah.
So we condense that. Whatever the problem was in episode 1 on Loki is not going to be the same problem as episode 6 on Loki, right?
Yeah.
Episode 3 is when the problem shifts. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't even think about last season, right? The problem went from, okay, this is the TVA, this is the variant we're hunting. Okay, we found that variant, which was he found out the you know what I'm saying? And then they fight, whatever happens, and then they end up on Lamentus, which then changes because that's when she's talking to her and realizing, oh, she's not the problem. The TVA is the problem. Loki shifts his entire motive to now they're both trying to take down the TVA. So don't forget, we find out in episode 4 that's where the fucking timekeepers are fake. That was the cliffhanger with that. And then Loki got pruned. Episode 5, we find out what's actually in the fucking void and at the end of time. And then, of course, episode 6 is where we go straight into this is the Citadel at the end of time. We find there's the Kang reveal. So my thing is, this is where we're going to see a major shift in what the show is about to be.
Oh yeah, I most definitely agree, and I think something Dion.
I just stepped back like I just dropped bars.
Yeah. I agree.
No. You kind of did because it does go along with what something Dion had mentioned. Like I think Loki does kind of give that good rhythm. Dion had mentioned in the previous episode that by 3 we know if it's going to be a trash series or not. Like by episode 3 we know if it's going to hit or if it's not going to hit at the end.
Yeah.
I think Loki does a great job of giving us a good plate on the first episode. I think the second one is a nice like filler to get us ready for that third one that's gonna satisfy us. 4 is gonna be kind of another filler as we saw with the first season, and then 5 and 6 is where
that's the bang.
That's where they're gonna hit us. Yeah, that's where they're bringing out the racks of meat. That's where they cutting shit off. That's where the flames going. Yeah,
that's when we're going to see the Fantastic Four. We're going to see a Fantastic Four tease. I think we're going to see a Fantastic Four, and not necessarily them per se, because we don't know if they haven't casted. Or don't forget a Deadpool tease. We're definitely going to see a Deadpool tease. Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if Deadpool wasn't in episode 5 or 6.
I can see that. And I think, and that makes sense because of how much they're pushing this, like, oh, I don't think we're going to make our release date and stuff like that, due to the actor strike. And we're just like, don't nobody care, bro. Like, we'd rather it done right than y'all put out
and
some
also,
BS.
Most of that show is already filmed. Most of that movie is already filmed, by the way. They filmed most of it.
But I think that has something to do with it. Another, something else I also had a theory on. I could just be completely wrong about it. Going back to this Obi being a Kang variant, what if he's Mr. Griffin? What if he's a variation of Mr. Griffin?
Kang, Q-E-N-G, yeah.
Yeah. Like if you like, and we saw the building in the first season. Yeah. So what if that is a variation of Mr. Griffin? And he's that version of that timeline that got pruned, erased his mind, and then put him there.
So I have a question. Is Victor Timely, Kang the Conqueror, and He Who Remains, are they all the same guy?
I think it's 3 different people. I think I feel like it is them, like we go back to, I think because you had left, Clint, when we discussed this. When they walk into the Citadel at the first one, you see 3 statues and one's destroyed. I think it is either, I think it's Immortus, He Who Remains, Kang the Conqueror, He Who Remains, and then Victor Timely. But I think even at this time, this one may be He Who Remains, well, Immortus / He Who Remains, because he becomes Immortus before he becomes He Who Remains. I think those three are the ones that make the TVA come up with the sacred timeline. And I think Kang is the one that differs from them. And that's why you see that broken statue, which is what led to Ant-Man Quantumania, which is them banishing him. Because as he said, even in Quantumania, he said, yo, when I was there and we were doing this, and remember, he shows Michelle Pfeiffer a thing of the sacred timeline. They were acting like children. They were doing this, they were doing that. So I think that when they were all together to make some stuff, Kang didn't like how this shit was going. And it was like, yo, I think Kang the Conqueror is the one that came up with the idea for the sacred timeline. And they didn't like how it was going, and they turned on the Conqueror. And then that's where the banishment came from.
Yeah, we need something. We need something very clear very soon.
Well, I believe Victor Timely is going to give us that for sure.
Have to, man, because it is a lot of variance.
Yeah, no, it is. But I think they're trying to sew up season 2, just some parts of. Because don't forget, every episode is supposed to sew up what happened, especially in the early part of a season. When you go into a season 2, the first 2 to 3 episodes are always sewing up what happened the previous season. So if we use that metric here, right? The first episode was what happens right when Loki got pushed through that door. Okay, this is immediately what happened to the TVA. Let's just start there. Okay, what happened to Sylvie? This is where Sylvie is. Okay, now where the fuck is Miss Minutes? Where is Renslayer? And where is He Who Remains / Kang? And we're going to find that out.
And to your point, and to your point of how you just putting that, before we get ready to close out, the ending of episode 2, we see Sylvie sitting on that truck with He Who Remains TemPad. And I think, right before it goes off, I feel like that's what's leading us into the next episode. That technology, leading up to how that TemPad is formed, how all of this is really working with Victor Timely. But it also lets me know too that TemPad is very important, and I don't think she knows all the ways of her still holding on to that. And I don't think Loki even understands that how they can. And what gave it away for me is how many times they keep saying, like, you're not supposed to be here. You're the cause of all of this. Right. And I kept wondering, like, why they keep telling him that, why they keep saying that. And then it made me understand. And I think we may see it in this, and I'm not sure. And again, this could just be my I'm out of there type of stuff. I don't think you can technically continue to prune branches like they did, because if you remember, what happens when Loki goes somewhere? A Nexus event occurs. Every time Loki steps on the sacred timeline, or just like how the chick from Doctor Strange say, when you do something, it does this. No matter, so that's why to Clint's point, pay attention to every time he goes to the sacred timeline, and then a Nexus event starts, and that starts to branch off another different case of scenarios. Like if Brad didn't go to his event, if Brad went to his event, if Brad was killed at his event, or if Brad was like this, it's going to start making those different types every time he steps on the timeline. And I think that's what's going to make him a danger to where the TVA is going to turn against him.
That's going to be interesting. I agree. But I do think the main thing we're trying to sew up is, and also don't forget everything you just said. Let's go back to a previous scene or a scene before, right? We found out we need Kang's temporal loom or temporal energy, right? So that's setting up. We have to find him, and then they made it a point to say in the TVA we have a hit on where Renslayer is.
Yeah.
Like made it a point.
Yeah. So what's one thing that you're hoping to see cleared up in the next episode before we get out of here? I'm gonna start with Dion. What's something you are looking to see done within episode 3?
I need a visual of what the hell is happening. I don't need the verbiage. I don't need no, I think this is happening. I need to know explicit, specific, this is what happened. This is how I fucked up. Like, I need to know what happened and where we're going. It's too many, like, I don't like the speculations. It's it's like it's
you want facts. You want this is what's happening.
Yeah, I want to the beginning of a heist is like this is what we're doing and this is how we're doing it. I need to know where we're going.
I have a question. Do you think we're getting a Loki season 3?
I didn't think it depends on this season, on how this mug holds up. Honestly, it'd be wild. The way the Marvel universe is going, from all the news, they might reset this entire shit. And just be like, this timeline got pruned. If you don't get off this timeline, we're going to get pruned. And then they can restart a whole different Marvel universe.
I think they're doing that, but not doing that by resetting everything. They're doing that by, don't forget, their 2 biggest franchises that they have not, like the Avengers, don't forget, they're the BC story in the grand scheme of things of Marvel. Right. Their biggest attractions is A, Spider-Man, B, the X-Men, and C, the Fantastic Four. We've seen none of that yet. And I think that is the direction that all of this is going into.
Yeah. Imagine if like they literally just handpicked who all should be on a new timeline.
Well, they'll do that on Secret Wars.
Yeah, that's what I.
You don't have to be on this Earth though, or this universe. So I'm saying is like get off now, and it's like what happened to Hawkeye? He didn't make it.
Well, no, that's the looming theory of what's going on is that one, Deadpool is going to be assigned to like kill off a majority of these people, which is what they're trying to tie in Deadpool 3 with. The comic Deadpool kills the Marvel universe. So we're going to get bits and pieces of that. But what I'm thinking is happening is the theory is incursions are going to happen everywhere, and the TVA is going to be assigned to pull heroes from every universe, select heroes from every universe, put them on one timeline. That's going to be the sacred timeline. That's what they're going to use to make one, and all y'all got to battle out to see who's going to be put on the sacred timeline. Who's going to be this timeline's Iron Man? Who's going to be this timeline's Spider-Man? Who's going to be this Black Panther? They're going to do all of that in Secret Wars.
I agree.
Yes, but as we know, and as we know, Clint had Dion Coley had the dip and stuff and everything like that. But I think that's what's going to happen.
I totally agree. But like I said, I think Dion, I know where he's coming from. He wants to see tangible stuff. But I also think that they're doing, like, the reason why I asked is Loki's getting to season 3 is because I need to know whether or not if they're saving anything, right? So like, let's say they went into the season knowing that this isn't going to be a season 3. It was 1 and 2, and this is how it relates to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And let's also let's look at, and if you don't mind me, I'm trying to pull it up real quick. But there are future Marvel shows and movies, right? Marvel.
Yeah, you still got Ironheart coming out. We still have Agatha. Yeah, we still have Echo coming out in January.
I heard that.
I heard
that like Echo is and it's not about it being bad. It's more so like they don't want to do anything. But here's what we know is coming out, at least in Phase 5, right? We got the Marvels that's coming up next. Deadpool 3, Captain America: Brave New World, which is going to have a major impact. Right after that, we're getting the Thunderbolts, major impact. Then after that, we're supposed to get Blade, but of course we'll see on that. And then don't forget there's shows, right? So we got Loki, What If, Echo, like you said, Agatha, Ironheart, and then they're scrapping Daredevil and doing other things with it. But we're about to get another What If season 2. That's a big deal.
Yeah. We're gonna have an episode where we actually talk about that and actually come up with our own what ifs. Like we've seen a lot of the rumors of what the episodes are gonna be. So I definitely can't wait to dive in there with y'all about what if episodes you would like to see. But to your point though, like it's still a lot of those though have to deal with. It's still regular stuff, sort of. So even like what you just connected with, like Avengers, like Marvel, we know the Marvels are the sequel to Secret Invasion. So that's what's going to close that whole thing up. But what we're trying to figure out too, though, does that close up the intergalactic connection between Earth and everyone else? Like, does this let them know, like, hey, we're going to start dealing with aliens here. We're going to do something with the Kree. Like, there's still those spaces left, because right now space is in shambles. We don't know what the fuck going on with space. We kind of know. Yeah, like Guardians is gone. We don't know if they're ever gonna bring Guardians back. We don't know what the hell going on with the Eternals.
Right.
And as far, and you know, Thor out here lollygagging and you know, taking Molly and babysitting. So we don't know. We have no Earth. We have no perspective on space right now. There's no. We have no eyes on space, so we don't know what's going on there. With everything that's coming out, the only key things I can even think that latch us to the whole MCU and the whole really is Agatha. That is about it, because she's going to show us the magic side of Marvel, which we haven't really gotten a chance to see.
And she has major implications with Wanda.
Yeah, which, and then I think that she's actually going to find a way to bring Wanda back with the coven that she's going to try to put together. I think they're going to try to bring back the Scarlet Witch, or she's going to try to get the powers of the Scarlet Witch put inside of her. And so I do think that that's going to occur. But yeah, like I will say, and I'll ask you though, as far as moving into the next episode, we're getting into episode 3, and of course that comes out Thursday, 6 p.m. PST. What do you want to see in this next episode? What are you wanting to see pop up?
I want to see my guy Kang. I want to see another variant of my man Kang. And then don't forget, they said that he's in half the stuff, right? He hasn't gotten any screen time yet up to this point. And after this episode, we'll be at the halfway point. So yeah, I expect to see him. I expect him to have major impact immediately, and I'm expecting them to set up what's going to, or what the next issue is coming to a close.
Yeah, I agree. I'm on the same page. I'm definitely feel like we're about to get that next Kang variant. We're about to get, you know, Victor Timely. We're about to see exactly what's going on, what's happening with him and stuff. And I want to see. I want to see something with where Renslayer is at. I want to know what Renslayer is doing. If Renslayer really is truly going to find free will, I either need to see it in this episode, or that's what 4 needs to be about. So as we said, like 2 is kind of that filler. 4 can directly be about Renslayer and her path to Kang. I think that's a great middle ground to set up episode 5 and 6. So I want to see that start to come together in episode 3. And then also too, to throw in there, I think Casey is a Moon Knight variant. That's just me though.
That's hilarious. That's not a bad one.
I think my boy Casey is a Moon Knight variant. We'll see. But ladies and gentlemen, oh no, go ahead. My bad.
And I was gonna say, or he's Casey from the Ninja Turtles. Who knows?
Sir, first of all, don't look. I already been suffering for some heart palpitations this morning. Don't do that to me. Because if I hear the Turtle song on Marvel, I'm out.
Like literally, you just hear like,
yo, that's his ringtone. Or did you just pass by his desk and he got a little hockey mask right there?
Something small.
Like, yo, what's small?
Just something small. Something
real small.
You know, like you don't get it,
man.
So, yeah.
Oh yeah. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for checking out another episode of Straight Out of a Comic Book. As you can see, we can talk about this all day, come up with different questions and scenarios and stuff. But, you know, we try to keep this thing under an hour, you know, and I know my folks always would be busy, you know, living out their dreams, making them laugh. Some of y'all entertaining stuff around the world, like my guy, Clint Coley here. So I just want to say thank y'all for checking out this episode. Appreciate him coming through. And please make sure, if you're watching this YouTube video, like, subscribe, and comment how you feel about season 2. But very much more importantly than that, I need you to go check out Clint's stand-up special. My edible just kicked in on his YouTube channel, Everybody Eats, okay? My man's trying to get it up to 500,000, so I need y'all to go over there. Go check out the comedy special. But not just that. Don't be like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm going to go check it out for 30 seconds so we can get the view. Not just that. Watch it, but then also videotape yourself watching it. Post it onto the IG, tag Clint Coley, hashtag my edible kicked in. Definitely will share it because we appreciate the support. Not even just him, we appreciate the support because it's a great special. So make sure y'all check that out. Continue checking out Straight Out of a Comic Book and Geek Blasphemy, and we will catch you next time.
My man.